Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to talk about getting started in email management for projects and teams. This is presented by SKYSITE, an ARC document solution company. I'm Sherilyn Hill, and I'll be your host for today's webcast. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping details to cover. First, we are recording this webinar, and it will be sent to you via email. So if you can't stay for the entire discussion, no need to worry. Next, this is a discussion and we encourage your participation. If you have any questions, please submit them in the chat box on the right side of your screen. We've saved time at the end for Q&A, so please ask away. We encourage those questions. Lastly, during the discussion, we have a few poll questions to ask, and we really would like you to participate in these. They're easy, multiple choice questions, and they don't have any right or wrong answers. Now that we've covered the details, let's move on to the agenda. We'll have a brief introduction to today's speakers, including a little bit about their background and experience. Then we'll jump into why email management is necessary for projects and teams. Then we'll cover who needs email management and how it creates a single source of truth for your team. Then we'll move on to the live demo of email management. And then lastly, as I said, we've saved 10-15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So now I'd like to introduce you to our first speaker, Kevin Latham.
Thank you, Sherilyn. So my name is Kevin Wakeham, and I'm product manager for SKYSITE projects. My background is actually in the industry. I worked for a large general contractor in the San Francisco Bay Area for a number of years on some pretty prominent projects, including large tech campuses and hospitals. I originally learned about ARC document solutions through utilizing their print services, and was eventually introduced to some of their technological services, including SKYSITE. So that's how I ended up where I am today, and looking forward to giving you guys a quick demo.
Thanks, Kevin. Now I'd like you all to meet our next speaker, John Sterland.
Thanks, Sherilyn. So this is John Sterland. I am Director of Product Development and Process Engineering here at SKYSITE. I have been with ARC working on technology products for about 15 years now, and my focus is on the Facilities and Archive module of SKYSITE. And today I'm going to walk you through the Death by PowerPoint side of our presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Sherilyn.
Well, thanks, John and Kevin. Let's jump right into our first poll question. We'll give you, it's a pretty quick one, so we'll give you 30 seconds to answer this. And the question is, what group do you best identify with? We want to make sure we address everyone using or researching email management during the discussion, so please choose the group you identify best with. Answers are coming in. We have about 10 seconds left. It looks like it's going, it was almost a landslide. And now time is up. Thank you, everybody, for voting. The majority of people responding were contractors, and followed by a tie with architects and engineers. And thanks again, everybody, for participating in the poll. And now let's turn it back over to John, and he'll get into the nuts and bolts of why email management.
All right, great. Thanks, Sherilyn. All right, so, excuse me. In 2017, Carleton University did a study on email and how people deal with that at work. There's some interesting points in here. Just thought we'd bring these up. Again, why are we talking about email management? Why is this an important thing to be looking at? And really, what you take from that study is the sheer volume and amount of time that spent related to email. Looking at the numbers, the average office worker is receiving, in the neighborhood of around 300 emails a week. That is a tremendous amount, and the amount of time they spend each day addressing those emails is 3 hours, as much as 3 hours. And then if you include the time they spend when they're at home addressing work emails, that number increases even further. So it's a tremendous amount of time spent on email. And unfortunately, their study showed that about 30% of those emails weren't particularly important or urgent. And so, that really just speaks to, if we can help to improve the quality of the way we manage the email, we can hopefully get some productivity back into your day, and we can spend some time efficiently. As we do that, we want to talk about how the email management, who it really benefits and how. So we're going to start with who it benefits. I put a few examples up on this slide. This is clearly not everybody, but it should give you an idea of directionally what we're looking at. And, really think about it from a project manager standpoint. We're looking to make this easy, right? We want to make it really easy to get all of that information into a single place, right? So for project managers, we've got a couple of really easy ways to get information into that single source of truth. They can use either a single project email address, and Kevin will talk to that in a minute, how to do that specifically. Can also sync it in with Outlook. So we've made that really, really simple for people to get things in there. That ensures that the whole team can get stuff in. From an executive or legal standpoint, we want to have a single source of truth, so you're not having to search 100 people's email inboxes, but rather you search a single location to gather that bit of information you're looking for. SKYSITE allows you to do that really, really easily. And then finally, project teams. You want to have a reference. We've all got limitations on our inboxes. We all work with email differently. We store email differently. Sometimes hard to remember whether you were on an email or only heard about it. And by having it all in a single place, you've got a nice reference that's easy to go in and find the information that you need. So before I move into the nuts and bolts of of how we can benefit from email management, I believe Sherilyn's got another question for you.
I do. Our next poll question is, what methods are you currently using to track your project emails? Again, about 30 seconds to answer this. Now that we have a good handle on who's going to benefit for it, we want to know kind of what you're all doing now to manage your email. And is this even on your radar, something new that you're looking to? Just to find out a little bit more where everyone stands, and the poll's closed. It looks like you guys are all in the right spot. The majority right now aren't doing anything. A few are using other software. About a third are using other software. So we're glad that everybody's interested in this and doing due diligence. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about email management, and John's going to take it to the next level.
All right, excellent, thank you. And don't worry, not too much longer, and then we'll get Kevin into a live demo of this. I want to run through 6 reasons really that we feel email management in SKYSITE is going to be good for you and your team. Number 1, this is the most important one, I believe, and that is single source of truth. And that's not just for email. That's, if you're using SKYSITE for all of your project documents, you've got your email in there, you've got one place to look for everything. And by doing that, anything and everything that you need is all in a single place. You don't have to go hunting around through different systems, that kind of thing. When you're putting it into SKYSITE, we make it really simple to associate it to a particular project. So if you're working on multiple projects, very, very easy to associate it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, using that project-specific email address or the Outlook add-in. That's item number 3 here. We've given you those 2 different methods to get emails into the system. One of the other things that I think is really significant is in this day and age, we're all going mobile, right? I spend half of my day with a phone in my hand and my laptop at my desk, and I'm not always at my desk. And I don't know about for you, but for me, when I'm trying to find an email that's older than a couple of weeks old, it gets really, really cumbersome on my phone. It's very, very hard to do that in the built-in apps, whether that's on an iPhone or an Android. Excuse me. And much, much easier to do that within the SKYSITE application. And so as you know, if you open up the mobile access within SkySite, easy search of all of that information. And again, you're not just getting all of your emails, you're getting all of the project emails then. So much more useful. And then a couple final bullets on here. Safe and secure, of course, anything you put into SkySite, we want to make sure security is important to us. We take our customers' data security very, very seriously. We want to make sure that not only is it secure from unauthorized access, but it's also secure and safe for the long term. So it will be there when you need it. And then finally, something that people don't think about until it's a problem, and that is inboxes have limits. And if you're trying to store an entire project team's worth of information in a single inbox, you will hit it, right? Lots of times individual users will hit that cap, and it varies obviously by organization, whether it's 2, 3, 5, or 10 or 25 gigabytes, but it doesn't take too long to hit any one of those, particularly on a busy project. So with SkySite, you don't have any of those limitations. We can store as much as you can send our way. Again, all organized, all in that single source of truth. So with that, I am going to turn it over to the more exciting and interesting part of this presentation, which is Kevin is going to walk us through a live demonstration of SkySite. So Kevin, over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you for that. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive right into it, show you guys how the Outlook add-in works and the email management aspect of SkySite. So what we are looking at right now on the screen is the project dashboard for SkySite projects. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with SkySite, it's a full building lifecycle solution. So SkySite projects addresses the pre-construction phase up to closeout. And we also have a different segment of SkySite called SkySite Facilities and Archival. And that takes it from the closeout phase through the building management process. So the demonstration today is going to be done from SkySite projects, again, our active construction solution. However, the same functionality is available in the facilities and archival side as well. So we will go ahead and jump right into it. The first question you probably have is, how do I get my email into SkySite? John previously mentioned that you don't have to be an Outlook user. So what we did is, if I navigate into my project settings, we've added this project email feature. What that is it's a completely customizable project email address, and anytime I send an email to that address, or anytime that address is copied in an email, that email is automatically synced into this project. So I would recommend using the project name in the customizable email address. As you can see, I've called this one ihcpharmacy@skysiteprojects.com. That's because my project is the IHC Pharmacy remodel. I'll show you here in just a few minutes exactly how that works from Outlook or from any email provider. So that's one method of getting emails into SkySite. The other method would be utilizing our Outlook add-in. So what I just did is I clicked on the Utilities tab in the footer of SkySite, and there's a few SkySite tools you can download here. The one in the middle is the Outlook add-in, and if I click on that, it'll begin the download. Granted, I've already installed this Outlook add-in for this demonstration today, so I'm not going to take you through that process, but I wanted to show you where you can access it and where you can download it from. So now I would like to jump into Outlook and give you guys a quick look as to the process of, once again, getting these emails into SkySite. So the first method I mentioned was using the project email address. So if I email that project email address that I previously showed you and say, this is a change order, and I'll say, please see attached. As soon as I click send on this, it's going to archive itself in the cloud in that relative project, and it will be available in real time on my phone or mobile device. So I'll go ahead and send that email, and that's the first method. The other method is the Outlook add-in, as I already mentioned. So as soon as you download the Outlook add-in, you'll get this add-ins tab available at the top of your Outlook. As you'll notice, I now have a SkySite drop-down on the left-hand side with a few different options. This add-in is going to remain connected every time you log into Outlook unless I manually log myself out. So the first time you install it, you'll need to log in, but after that, it's going to remain connected at all times unless you go to this drop-down menu and select the disconnect option. Along with this add-ins tab now showing up after downloading it, I also have this SKYSITE folder over here on the left-hand side. All that is another folder within my Outlook, similar to my inbox folder. It's just simply a SKYSITE folder. And you'll notice that I have both applications, the facilities and archival side, as well as the project side. I can expand my projects folder because I've already synced emails to the SKYSITE project side of the application. If I had done so for facilities and archival, I would also be able to expand that folder. So I'll go ahead and expand the projects folder, and you'll notice that only the projects that I've synced emails to are showing up. So I might have 50 different projects in my actual SKYSITE account, but I've only synced emails to 7 of them, so that's why only those are showing up in my Outlook. So there's 2 ways you can utilize the Outlook add-in to go ahead and get emails into SKYSITE. The first one would be simply selecting an email and dragging and dropping it into the respective project. When I do that, you'll notice that the email is relocating from my inbox into this project-specific folder. So the email remains in Outlook. It's still searchable. It's still findable. Essentially what it's doing is cleaning up your inbox and making it more organized, because now you've moved a project-related email into a project-specific folder. For the purposes of this demo, I just dragged and dropped a single email. However, I can drag and drop as many emails at a time that I would like. The third method of getting emails into SKYSITE is simply right-clicking on an email, and I'll get this Sync to SKYSITE option. When I click that, it's going to ask me which project do I want to sync this email into. That's because it's not associated with any specific project. And as you'll notice, I can select the Facilities and Archival button as well, because my collections are available to sync emails as well. So when I do right-click and select Sync to SKYSITE, my favorite projects are coming up first. Those are the ones that I access most often. And down below that, you'll see that they're in alphabetical order, so they're easy to find. The other method of finding them would be simply typing in the search bar, and as I'm typing, it's going to filter out the project that I'm looking for. And in this case, I will sync to the IHC Pharmacy Remodel. So now that I've selected that project, I'll go ahead and select Sync Email to SKYSITE. Once again, that email has moved from my inbox and into the project-specific folder, and that email still remains searchable in Outlook. So one way of automating this process is to utilize the Outlook rules. We didn't feel the need to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to use functionality that's familiar to everybody. And Outlook rules do in fact work in terms of automating this process. So if I don't want to drag and drop or right-click each email to sync to a project, I can set up a rule and have it automatically go into that project-specific folder and again sync up into the cloud. So now that I've showed you from Outlook how that works, we're going to go back to the browser, and this time I'm going to navigate inside of the project that I was just syncing my emails into. You'll notice I now have this email archive folder available. So this email archive folder is going to show up once you have synced an email to this project. If I haven't synced any email into this project, you won't see that folder. I'll go ahead and jump inside to give you guys a quick look as to how it's organized and what it looks like. So this top email that we're looking at here, this is the one I sent during this live demo to the project-specific email address. You can see it found its way into the cloud. And the two right below it are the other two methods I used, the drag and drop functionality and the right-click and sync to SKYSITE option. You'll see you can go ahead and sort by selecting these headers, so the from, subject, to, and date. And it includes who sent the email. You'll have a quick preview, as well as the date over here on the right-hand side is the actual date that the email was sent, not when it was archived into the cloud, but when it was sent, so it'll match up with your Outlook. One other item I'd like to point out is it does show if there's attachments on these emails, and it's easily searchable. So if I wanted to find an email in here, I can search change for change order, and very quickly both emails that mention change order are found. One thing I'd like to point out is we have two separate tabs up here at the top just below the search bar. There's the project emails tab, and what that is all emails that are being synced into SKYSITE for the specific project. So it does not have to be email synced by myself. It could be anybody that's working on this project within SKYSITE. So that includes somebody both internal to your company and external. Let's say if you're an architect, it could be the general contractor's email that you would see here. The My Emails tab is only email that is associated with my SKYSITE account. So if I click on my profile, I can see my email address there. And anytime that email address is receiving an email or copied on an email and then synced into SKYSITE, it'll show up in the My Emails tab. So you probably have a question as far as who can see what. Everybody has access to the My Emails tab if you have email management enabled. So everybody's going to be able to store their own emails in SKYSITE, organize them, make them easily searchable, and ultimately clean out your email inbox. However, the Project Emails tab is only visible to internal users of the project owner. So to clarify that, if I was the project owner for the specific project, in most cases it would be a coworker that would be able to see project emails, somebody that is under my account that is being invoiced on the same bill. If I open up an email, you'll see what it looks like. So you can see obviously the message, who it was sent to, and you'll have a couple of options here to print, download, and delete. Only the project creator has the ability to delete an email from the cloud. That is because we want it to serve as an archive and don't want information or discussions removed and eliminated from this archive. So a single individual is going to have that permission. Any other collaborators will only have the download and the print option. The download option is important because just like most things in SKYSITE, you can extract your information whenever you would like. I can select these emails, multiple emails at a time, and use this download option if I wanted to mass export any emails from the cloud. Now I'm going to jump back into the Outlook add-in because I want to show you a little bit more functionality that is associated with this add-in. Previously, I mentioned there's a couple of options available in this drop-down menu. If I navigate to my settings, you'll see I have an option to sync my contacts. And what that is it gives me an option to either sync my Outlook contacts into SKYSITE or the option to sync my SKYSITE contacts down into Outlook. This is a fantastic functionality because, especially if you're a first-time user, it's a quick way to create your contacts within SKYSITE, and there's no importing process. This will automatically sync them for you. On the right-hand side, I'll be able to select how often I would like the system to check and make sure that my contacts are, in fact, in sync. So I can have the system check every hour to make sure that there's been no changes to anybody's contacts, or I can check every 2 or 5 hours. If I go into the About section, I just want to highlight this very, very quickly. If you're ever looking for the version number of the add-in, you can locate it here. but in most cases, that's something you shouldn't need to access. Now that I've showed you that, I want to quickly give you a look as to what it looks like on a mobile device. So I've already logged into this specific project, and you'll see that the interface is very similar to what we just looked at on the cloud. I have the My Emails tab as well as the Project Emails tab. I can select an email and view it. And obviously the search capabilities are enabled up at the top. And if I jump back into the project, you'll see that the email archive folder looks very, very similar to what we were just looking at in the cloud. So right now I'm showing you from an iPad. This is available from your mobile phone as well. I think that'll about wrap it up for today's live demonstration. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Sherilyn.
Thanks, Kevin. That was really interesting, and I really liked that we were able to see how it works on the tablet. So great demo on that. And that leads us to our third poll question, and we're going to give you a little more time on this one. But we want to know how soon you're planning on implementing email management. Is it 30 days, the next 3 months, maybe in the next year, or are you just looking and still unsure about that? You know, we want to see kind of where everyone is in this process and get a gauge of the importance of it, and just learn a little bit more of, you know, how you're looking for this and where everyone is in the process. And this actually turned into more of a landslide than the other poll questions. You know, most people are unsure, and just it seems like everyone's in the investigative stage. So that was really good to see, or interesting to see. But now we are ready to get back to John and Kevin and open it up for Q&A. Hopefully you all have a lot of questions for John and Kevin, and they're ready right here to answer them. So let's see. We've got a few questions coming in. The first one I'll go to is for John and Kevin. If you delete the email from the folder in Outlook, will it be deleted in the SKYSITE email folder? Okay,
so if you delete a message from Outlook, it will not be deleted in SKYSITE, and that is to ensure, again, that single source of truth. So the account administrator has the ability to go in and delete out old messages, but each individual user, if they're syncing it up into SKYSITE, that's a one-way street. Once it's in, it's there and kept. So it's a good way for you to be able to clean up space in your Outlook without you know, worrying that you're losing that information. Good question. Thank you.
The next question that just came in is, what is the approximate cost?
The email management functionality is included in SKYSITE's enterprise package. So for more information, you can go to skysite.com, and at the end of this, we will share a contact that you can reach out to for additional information.
Right, and the enterprise package is for projects. Email management is included in the facility side. Just for a little clarification on that. The next question I have that just came through is, can users get back their emails if they no longer use SKYSITE?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as I showed in the demo, the emails are all downloadable and exportable. So SKYSITE doesn't want to keep any of your data or information hostage. You know, it's all your data. We're simply the platform that you're hosting it in. So if you were to export your emails that you've synced into the cloud, it's just going to export as a native email file. So the short answer is yes. All of those emails that you're syncing into the cloud are yours, and you can, in fact, retrieve them if you no longer use SKYSITE.
The next question that came through is, we are currently using Google Suite instead of Outlook. How would that work with Google Suite?
Okay, so with Google Suite, the way that you would get email into SKYSITE then would be through that project email address. The Google Suite doesn't, there's not an add-in kind of a functionality for that, and so you would do that through the project email address. So you just simply forward those emails there, or copy them when you are sending the messages.
Okay, thanks, John. The next one, and I think this is an important one that came through, is how long does the email stay archived? And just thinking of potential litigation issues, how long will the email stay archived?
Well, yeah, something I didn't mention is that, this SKYSITE is on the project side, is an unlimited storage solution. So you can archive as many emails into SKYSITE projects as necessary. So along with that, if you're utilizing SKYSITE for several years, you can ultimately keep those emails in SKYSITE as long as you are a SKYSITE user. So that's ultimately dependent on how long your subscription is active within SKYSITE. If your subscription is active, your emails are still available in SKYSITE.
Great. The next one is concerning file size limits. Is there a limit to the number, 1,000, 10,000 of emails that can be saved into SKYSITE? Is there a limitation on that?
There is no limitation on that. You can store as many emails as you'd like in SKYSITE.
Great. Besides emails, are you able to save pictures and documents instead of overloading a shared drive? Will those also be archived with the email in the email archive?
So the attachments on email are also archived in that email management folder. As you saw from that email management homepage, the preview for the email shows whether an attachment was included or not. And actually in the advanced search functionality, I can search to see if my email has an attachment associated with it. So if you have, whatever file type attached to the email that you're syncing into SKYSITE, that attachment is going to be archived as well.
Great answer. Sorry about that. I was reading through the questions. The next question is, are there any automation options for the emails, such as sending a notification to a supervisor?
All of the automation right now is utilized through Outlook's rural functionality. So once again, we didn't want to recreate anything that's unfamiliar to users. We wanted there to be a no learning curve or a very, very small learning curve when utilizing this functionality. So we essentially decided to use functionality that users are familiar with. So the automation in terms of getting your email into SKYSITE is done through Outlook. As far as receiving a notification when an email is archived, that is not a functionality that we support right now, mostly because we felt that would be overwhelming if we were to sync all of our project-related emails into SKYSITE. Because as 300 emails a week, I think, is what John talked about earlier. That could become an exponential number when you have your whole project team syncing into SKYSITE.
Great, thanks, Kevin. The next question I have is it easy to transfer over from Newforma to SKYSITE?
So the process of relocating your documents, say, from one solution to another, is largely a professional services aspect of technology. So ARC and SKYSITE have associated professional services that can assist you with exporting your documents, not just, say, from Newforma, but from whatever solution you might be using them, and uploading into SKYSITE. So that's something that we can actually help you with and do for you if that sort of assistance is required.
Great. And it looks like we have one question left, and you might have touched a bit on this already, but does SKYSITE add-in work with the Outlook rules?
Yeah, I think we touched on that once or twice, but yes, Outlook rules are the suggested method to automate your emails syncing into SKYSITE if you don't want to manually drag and drop or right-click and sync into SKYSITE or use the project-associated email address.
Great, and this is regarding an answer going back to that you already had, that you had said there is only one admin person that can delete. Is that admin person overseeing all the projects on SKYSITE, or can other users be assigned an admin for their project?
The project owner is the user that has permissions to delete emails from a project. So within one account, you might have several different project owners. Those users all have the ability to delete emails in their respective project. So only in the projects that they are the owner of, not other projects in the same account.
And on the facilities and archive side, you have the ability to have multiple administrators on an account, and that's all controlled through the permissions module.
Great. At this time, I don't see any other questions coming through. Oh, wait. There's one more. Are there any other integrations other than email?
So SKYSITE has a number of integrations available. Associated with email, the add-in is the only one. However, like I mentioned, we do integrate with several different document management platforms. So I would suggest navigating to the SKYSITE website or contacting this user whose information we're going to share here in just a moment, and they'll be able to provide you with more information on that.
And I would just add to that, Kevin, that we do also have an API available for custom integrations as well.
Great. Well, it looks like that wraps it up for the Q&A. I'd really like to thank John and Kevin for the great explanation and answering all the questions. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you who joined us today. Remember, this was recorded and it will be available to anyone who missed it. And also feel free to pass it on. If you have questions, if you'd like to schedule a personal demo, or if you just want more information, please contact Stacy Peck. Her information is on the screen now, and she will be able to set up a demo or provide you with any of the information that you need. Again, I'll leave it up for just one more second for all of you to get Stacy's information. And again, you can get to the information via the recording, but she can help get you everything that you need for that. And with that, it's a wrap. And I just want to say thank you again, everyone, for attending. And it's time for us to sign off. Have a great day, everybody.